Leadership. Now I'm going to risk, and this is a real risk for me, being chastised by the Changing Lives team for preaching because there is no story today. There are three components to being a leader. You either have to have all three of these or you're not a leader. Now, let me explain something, make sure you understand this. I've always heard this, we didn't have any leadership on our team. The reason we weren't successful is because we didn't have any leadership. This class doesn't have any leadership. Not true. Everybody is a leader. Now, you're either a positive leader or you're a negative leader. But everyone is a leader. If someone is teaching the other people to compete against you, they are a negative leader. If they are teaching the people to cooperate with you, they are a positive leader. If they're teaching commitment, they're a positive leader. If they're teaching compliance, they're a negative leader. So there are leaders. Now, what does it take to really be a positive leader? 3 parts. The number 1 part and the easiest part is you got to have a head. You got to know what to do. And I'm going to say that a high percentage, whatever it might be, have this component. They know what to do. If we're talking about parenting, most people know how to be a good parent. They know what they ought to do. So they should be a good leader. Okay. The second component you have to have is a heart. Number 1's a head. You got to know what you're doing to lead. You can't just go out there and think you're going to lead if you don't know anything. And I really do believe that most people know how to lead. The second part is a heart. You really have to have a passion. I mean, there has to be an unbelievable desire on your part for other people to be successful. Because leadership is good, positive leadership is you are successful when others are successful. So you have to have a passion to be successful. You have to, if you're in coaching, and I can relate so many things to coaching because I did it for so long. If they're not successful doing what you're doing, then you got to change what you're doing. If you're teaching and the students don't learn it, you don't just keep teaching the way you have been, because to keep doing the same thing and expect different results is a definition of insanity. So when you look at a game film or you look at video of practice and they're not learning and you're the leader, and if you really have a passion, then you got to say, okay, I got to figure out a new method of teaching, of coaching, of supervising. If you're in a company and your employees are not being successful, you got to figure out a way for them to be successful. If you just keep doing what you've been doing, you're not a good, positive leader. If you don't change something, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. If you want something different, you got to change what you've been doing. And that's having the passion to be a great leader. Now, those 2 things, like in parenting, you got to really want to be a good parent. And you got to study, and you got to work hard, and you got to know, and then you got to have the passion to get it done. But the third part, I think there's an enormous amount of people in education, business, parenting, church, that have the head and the heart. But here's the part they're missing. you got to have a backbone. Because you can know what to do, and you can want to do it, but if you don't do it, it doesn't matter. And you really see this in athletics. You have a player that's maybe the best player on your team, and you know for him to be successful in life, he's going to have to learn the disciplines of showing up on time and doing the things that he should do to cooperate. And he has to learn to be committed to be successful. And because he is such a good athlete and he's such a good player, you don't hold him to that. You don't have the backbone to hold him to that. You're setting him up for failure. If you're a parent, you love your kids, and you want to be the best parent in the world, and you don't have the backbone to do it, I cannot tell you how many times I've sat in on parent conferences and just wanted to jump across the table. And the parent would tell me, there's nothing I can do with him. He just does what he wants to do. There's not anything I can do. And you want to say, yeah, there is. All you need is a backbone. We used to talk about this all the time in leadership. If you're going to be a great leader on this football team, you're going to have a backbone. We would call a play on 3rd down and 1. The place that we were going, if it was behind the right guard, he knew who to block. He had a passion to get the job done. But did he have the backbone? So many times I tell the quarterback, just reach around there and feel the backbone of that right guard and say, can we come here? See, you got to have all three. You got to know what to do. You got to want to do it in the worst way possible. Have the heart. But you got to have the backbone. You got to be willing to do the difficult things. So many times, and you've heard this, if you've been raised like I was, this is going to hurt me worse than it does you. I heard that so much when I was a kid and my parents were going to punish me. And I would think, well, let's don't do it then. I can solve that one for you. But they did do it. And then when I got to be a parent, and I thought to myself, this does hurt worse than you hurt. But it hurts to punish. It's a difficult thing to do. You've got to have a backbone. And I've said this 1,000 times, and I really do believe this. You can be friends with your children, either when they're children or when they're adults, but not both. If you're their friend when they're children, then you're going to have trouble when they're adults. If you're disciplinarian and a strong leader when they're children, you're going to have friends when they're adults. And I really believe that, and it's proven true in our case, and in my case, the way I was raised. To be a great leader, you're going to have all three. Head knowledge, heart passion, and backbone to get it done. And if you do those three things, then you're going to be the best leader you can be, and that's going to make you the best you that you can